Hi everyone, I waited until today, which is election eve, one day before this 2-year odyssey is almost done. Woohoo! Well, sort of. I love politics. This has been a lot of fun. At any rate, I don't want to take up a lot of time doing this because we have a lot of choices on the ballot for the city of Oakland, the county of Alameda, the state of California, and of course the United States. So let's get right to my endorsements. And I might add, if you don't live in Oakland or you don't live in California, if you're a political junkie, I want to hear your view about what I'm talking about. But I'm going to get right to this because this is a long list and I don't want to take up a lot of time doing this. For president, Barack Obama. I've been a volunteer of Senator Obama for almost 2 years now, and everyone that regularly views my channel knows where I stand with Senator Barack Obama and why. Barack Obama is my choice for president of the United States. He would be the best president the United States has ever had. For our local races, we have my choice to retain her seat in Congress in District 9, Barbara Lee. Congresswoman Lee, for those of you who are wondering where have I heard that name, was the only United States congressperson or senator to vote no against the United States invading the Iraq War. She voted no. Since then, Barbara has used her lofty position to help those most in need. She has wonderfully represented the East Bay and has proven that she has been more than a worthy successor to a seat that was held for many years, and very well, by now Oakland Mayor Ron Dellums. So I vote for Congresswoman Barbara Lee to retain her seat and continue to serve the East Bay as well as she has done. Now, for California State Senate, Lonnie Hancock. She has the same progressive values that Barbara Lee has, and she's done a wonderful job in serving this area primarily as Mayor of Berkeley. For California Assembly, we have the incumbent Sondre Swanson. Sondre, Lonnie Hancock, and Barbara Lee all share the same values. They're friends, and they've all done a very, very good job of improving the quality of life in the East Bay, particularly for those who are most in need of help. Sondre and Congresswoman Lee actually spearheaded local initiatives and movements to help homeowners in times of need during this mortgage crisis. They want to do more, so let's keep them in place so they can. Now we have the local judge race. That's a different animal because we don't have Democrat versus Republican. These are two Democrats. We have Phil Daley, who's backed by Don Parada and others, and we have Dennis Hayashi, who's a public defender. Now Hayashi has the endorsement of both Sondre Swanson and Lonnie Hancock, among others. Phil Daley has the endorsement of the Alameda County Sheriffs, and it seems like every standing judge there is in the Alameda County Superior Court system, save for a couple. But my choice is for Dennis Hayashi, and it's for this reason. Phil Daley is a person who is an excellent prosecutor for the city of San Leandro. But my concern is that Daley, because of his relationships with those on the side of basically the hook 'em and book 'em crowd, will only look at cases from that perspective, particularly criminal cases, and will not psychologically be able to advance a more balanced view. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But given his list of endorsements, everything points in that direction. By contrast, Dennis Hayashi, who is a public affairs and a public defender attorney in his history, has a perspective and a list of endorsements that points to a more balanced view, the view of a judge. So I think that Dennis Hayashi will be a more effective judge. He'll be a judge that people will not think is in the back pocket of a prosecutor or anyone on a particular side. He will be a true judge. So nothing against Phil Daley. He does an excellent job, but I think as judge, Dennis Hayashi will do a better job. That's my choice. We come to the at-large position in Oakland. I'm going to make another video on this, but I'm going to say that my choice is Rebecca Kaplan. Now, originally I told Carrie Hamill that I was going to endorse her, but I chose And I normally do not do this to reverse. And I did for one specific set of reasons. Remember, one specific set, which means a set of interrelated reasons. Carrie, who I've known for a long time and worked with in Elihu Harris' office when Elihu was mayor of Oakland, he's now Peralta Community College chancellor, has adopted the habit of switching her position on issues. There are a number of people in the city of Oakland who point to her time on the Oakland School Board when she was known for switching positions on issues. But then she did it again with respect to Measure NN, which would establish the tax, the additional tax we need to put police on the street. When I interviewed her earlier this year, not just a couple of months ago and visible on my Oakland Focus blog, she was for getting additional funding for police officers. Now she's turned around and she's against it. So my concern in this internet age is that Carrie will not be able to maintain her authenticity, that she will look one way and then she'll look another. My other concern involves her statements regarding Robert Bobb and his possible return to Oakland. She said she wanted to cast the net broad and wanted to see what was out there. Well, look, we have a person in Robert Bobb who has a proven track record of commitment to his job in Oakland. Yes, he wasn't popular with everyone, but Robert Bobb was an unquestioned doer. For Carrie to not advance and not embrace the effort to bring Robert Bobb back, I think calls into question whether or not Carrie can actually side with someone who has put their heart and soul into the city and helped improve it. Carrie, my concern is, will always work to be political rather than working to be effective. And at some point, you've got to make a decision, stick with it, and not change in the face of adversity. The reason why I'm changing is as a demonstration to say, Carrie, I love you very much, but I think that, in fact, I'm absolutely certain that Rebecca will be a more certain player regarding her decisions. Now, the criticism that people have of Rebecca is that she presents different sides of herself to different people. She's one thing to this person, she's something else to the other person. But that's different, quite different from changing a position. You can speak differently to different groups, but you can have the same position on a decision regarding, say, an initiative. That's different. So, also, I think that, and I'm taking more time with this than I intended to, but I think that Rebecca will be an amazing shot in the arm to a city whose government needs it. She'll be the first lesbian candidate that won and got a seat on the city council for a city that has the largest, allegedly the largest per capita population of lesbians in the United States. It's high time that someone from a group, that demographic group, represent the city of Oakland. It perhaps is past high time. That aside, I think Rebecca would do an incredible job, and I think that she's going to give a good and new and fresh and needed perspective to issues, policy, and problem in the city of Oakland. So, with that, my endorsement is for Rebecca Kaplan. For AC Transit, we have the incumbent Chris Peebles versus Joyce Roy. I've known Chris for a long time. Chris has been a champion of the improvement of AC Transit. I want him in that position to continue to do a great job. Chris Peebles. Same with Greg Harper. He's the incumbent. Not much controversy for that position. Now we have state issues. Proposition 1A, for those of you around the world and the United States who don't know this, is the state initiative that, if passed, will lead to the issuance of bonds to build a $40 billion high-speed rail network running from Northern California to Southern California. I have always been a champion of the concept of high-speed rail, but I don't like this plan. It doesn't come through Oakland. And yes, there are provisions that if one route doesn't work out, or if something turns out to be a little not cool, then we can have a route structure that favors Oakland. But I don't see that in the offing. The constructors of the plan behind this legislation have cooked the books in favor of certain routes and allowed it to become the political plaything of cities. It's not the best way to achieve high-speed rail. But what most concerns me is that we will have high-speed rail competing against Caltrain along certain corridors. Like, for example, just one corridor from San Francisco International to downtown San Francisco. They'll have a high-speed rail station in San Francisco and one at the airport, which means that you don't have to take BART or Caltrain to get from downtown San Francisco to the airport. Doesn't that hurt the other two systems? Of course it does. That's overkill. We don't need it. So I'm voting no on 1A. Now, Proposition 2, I vote yes. 3, yes. Proposition 4, I vote basically no. Why? Because the matter of notifying parents regarding minors and abortions is admirable, but there's a problem. What if the minor happens to be homeless? What if you can't locate the person's parents? What if there's no other adult guardian to contact? It's got some problems, so enough for me to want to vote no. Proposition 5, I vote yes, because we need to begin to dismantle and alter what's become a prison industrial complex. Do you realize that you can actually invest in prisons on the stock market? Which means that if you are an investor in prisons through the stock market, it's actually to your benefit that people get locked up, perhaps at an inordinately high rate. I vote no. Proposition 6, yes. Proposition 7, absolutely not. Because Proposition 7, now let me back up, ladies and gentlemen. Proposition 6 will get approximately $950 million of additional funding to law enforcement. Now you would say, how can I support that, but then be against Prop 5? Well, look, I don't view police as part of the problem. I've always believed that police were part of the solution. It's just that they're misdirected. For example, a police officer should have a notepad and take notes regarding what's happening in a neighborhood and what's going on with buildings and people, and share that with economic development in the city, and thereby being the eyes and ears for economic development, so that economic development officers know what's going on and where improvements should be made. Those are the kind of positive contributions that police officers can make, and in some cases do make, to our community. So no, police are not the problem. We actually need more police officers on the street. So I vote yes for Prop 6. Prop 7 is different. It's a call for the use of renewable energy sources by utilities in California. But it's so poorly written that even persons you would think would normally be for this, like for example the League of California Cities, are actually against it, because it actually increases costs in a number of different areas and on ratepayers. So no. Now we come to Proposition 8, which if passed will ban same-sex marriages in California. I vote no. Everyone has the right to live their life as they see fit, so long as they're not causing harm to others. I don't see that there should be much discussion there. Proposition 9 is the Victims' Rights Act, something called the Marsy's Law. And the idea is that if a criminal is going to be let out on parole, then the victim can be notified. The victim can also basically decide whether or not that person gets out, pretty much can run that person's basic post-prison life if it's passed. It's really a draconian law, and I see it as potentially crowding up even more an already crowded prison system and not pointing the way toward rehabilitation. I just don't think it's the right law. I don't think it's the right way to go about this matter of quote, protecting the victim, if indeed the victim is really that much in danger. I think a modified law is appropriate, but this law, I have some issues with the way it's written. So I'm going to vote no. And I might add that I'm not alone on this. A number of organizations and newspapers like the LA Times have voted no as well. It's just not well written at all. So vote no on Proposition 9. Proposition 10, that is the alternative fuel vehicles bond issue. I vote yes. It reportedly will make alternative fuel vehicles more affordable and provide funding for research into this area. It's much needed at the right time. Vote yes. We'll come to Proposition 11, which would replace the current activity of having the state legislature, the California state legislature, involved in the matter of redistricting, replace the legislature's activities with a 14-member commission. No. And the reason why I vote no is this. Right now, the California legislature is heavily Democratic. And so redistricting tends to favor Democrats. If we have this 14-member commission that the governor wants, then we have persons that could possibly not represent the interests of persons of color and minority, which the Republican Party in this state has not had a good track record of doing. So no, if the Republican Party wants to have a better lever of control over redistricting, then it has to produce better candidates that then get elected. But right now, no. So I vote no on Proposition 11. Proposition 12, funding for veterans, that's easy. I vote yes. And now we come to the hotly argued Oakland initiative, starting with Measure In. If Measure In passes, it will attach a $10 parcel tax to attract and retain teachers in the city of Oakland. This, to me, is a no-brainer. But there are those who are opposed to it for reasons that I'm not even clear. In fact, I don't even think the people who are opposed to this measure are clear. Why? Because there's no opposition language in the ballot. In other words, if you look for the arguments yes, they're there. But if you look for the arguments against Measure In, there's nothing. So if the no for Measure In people can't take enough time to get in an argument on their side in a timely fashion so that it makes the ballot book, well then why should I even be concerned about voting against it? Particularly when we're always talking about attracting and retaining a better set of highly qualified and interested teachers. So we need this. Vote yes on Measure In. Now we come to Measure Doubling, which is also hotly argued and does have arguments for and against in the ballot book. But I vote for it because we have said for some time now that we need more money to pay for police officers, to get more officers on the street, and to retain the officer level that we have right now. We can't shift around the money as easily as we'd like to. We need a new source. This will give it to us. Now, the other side says that we have to concentrate more on police performance. But that issue of police performance has a lot to do with consent decrees and other issues that surrounded the resolution of the Riders case, where several Oakland police officers were eventually acquitted of allegedly violating the civil rights of alleged criminals in the West Oakland area. That now we have a situation where some police officers say that they're not able to do their job as well as they can in the process of apprehending suspected criminals. So it's for a different set of reasons that perhaps we don't have the kind of arrest rate that others would like to see. But crime is down compared to, for example, where it was when Jerry Brown was mayor. We're getting better, but we're nowhere near where we should be, and in my view, Measure Double In will help. Now finally we have measures OO, VV, and WWW. It's hard to say. OO will increase funding to programs that in Oakland that are associated with the needs of kids. It's an offshoot of the Kids First program. I vote yes. I vote yes to maintain it, particularly because the no side has not given me a convincing set of reasons other than saying this isn't the right one. Well, but they don't say what the replacement should be, or that they're going to draft another measure that will effectively replace this one. The argument isn't there. I have a hard time with the idea of taking money from programs that are for kids. I have a hard time with the idea of choking that off. So I vote yes for OO. Now, for VV, that is a measure that will preserve and hopefully enhance transportation programs for those who are disabled. I vote yes. Finally, we have the famous double W, which is the measure that will actually provide funding for the cleanup and the maintenance of urban creeks in Oakland. Absolutely. So that's it. Got through that in how much time? Oh gosh, I don't know, 20 minutes I guess. But there you are. I have released my endorsements. It's the first time I think in the history of our blog that I've given you a full list of endorsements. Some you'll agree with, others you will not, and you may not even like my reasons. In fact, I'm probably certain that in the cases where you disagree with me, you're going to hate my reasons. But there we are. Regardless of your position, just make sure that if you haven't voted, to get out there and vote. Thanks.